Hey guys, it's Cobalt here, and a lot of people have been complaining about 1.19 being one of the worst updates in Minecraft history. Now, while I'm not going to completely disagree with that, I do think that this update's had its fair share of hate and controversy surrounding it, and I want to bring some positivity back. I know I'm quite late to the party here, but let's get into top 10 things that have been added in 1.19. So starting off the list of number 10, I've chosen the frog light. These three new blocks are really good for futuristic building and lighting up just any sort of build, and for a game that isn't really optimised for futuristic, this has definitely added a new way of going about it. And not just futuristic, just in general, this is a really nice looking block, and it comes in three. Aside from being a really good looking light source and building block, there's honestly not much more I can say about these. Moving on to number 9, we have the goat horns. Now, mainly for Minecraft servers or realms, this is just a really cool new addition, especially on the Terracraft server. We've been using these a lot to signal or communicate with each other. It's just a really nice way of giving goats a use in the game, rather than just for aesthetic purposes. I also love the way you obtain them. Instead of just killing a goat, you have to get it to ram you, and then it will drop its horn. The goat horn comes in 8 different variations, 4 of which can be obtained by any goat. Those are sing, feel, ponder and seek, and the other 4 types, which are yearn, call, admire and dream, can only be obtained from screaming goats, making them a lot rarer and harder to find, and possibly a collector's item. Number 8, I've put the mangrove swamp. The only reason I've put this so low on the list is because I'm only going to be talking about the biome, not the wood, not the features that come with it, just the biome. I think mangrove swamps are a really nice advanced biome that has been added. I call it advanced. What I mean by it is I would consider right now in the game biomes such as plains, forest, desert and birch forest, see what I did there, as examples of simple biomes. They don't really have much to them. Unlike those, I feel like there's actually incentive to go to the mangrove swamp. For example, the mangrove trees where you can get mangrove wood from, or the root blocks and a lot of mud. Not to mention the home of lots of frogs. I really do like this biome, I just feel like it's very dense and hard to take it all in, but overall I really like the addition. Going at number 7 spot, I have put mud. The reason I like mud so much as a feature is that while yes, you can find it in the mangrove biome, you can also produce it yourself using a water bottle and some dirt. On top of all of that, you can put mud on top of a dripstone block with pointed dripstone underneath, and it will drain the water from it, turning mud into clay. So through mud, Minecraft has now added renewable clay. Another great feature of mud is that if you combine it with mangrove root blocks, you can make muddy mangrove root, which looks absolutely amazing in paths and terraforming. Moving away from the mud block itself, if you combine it with wheat, you can make packed mud, and from that you can craft mud bricks, which looks absolutely amazing in building, and has really opened up a lot of new possibilities for the game, and what we're able to build, basically unlocking a lot of new regions of infrastructure. Coming in at number 6, I've got the frog. The only reason I've put the frog above the mangrove swamp is because while the mangrove swamp is a rare and stationary biome, frogs can be taken all over the place, and in my opinion are just more interesting. Firstly, they come in 3 variants, which in of itself is really cool, but the game picks which variant of frog it will be from which biome it grows up in, either cold, temperate or warm. I also love the ways the frog interact with their environment. For example, they tend to jump onto lily pads or drip leaf. They can eat baby slimes and magmas, in which case a frog light will be produced. I think the frog is one of the only mobs that can interact a lot with its natural environment and surroundings without players interfering. And on top of all of that, if you breed 2 frogs together using slime balls, one of them, very similarly to turtles, will go and lay some eggs. Those eggs are called frog spawn, and from those can come baby frogs, which are known as tadpoles. Those tadpoles will hatch, and depending on what biome that tadpole grows up into, it will choose to be a different variant of frog, bringing the frog life cycle full circle. Coming in at number 5, to be the midpoint of the list, is going to have to be the mangrove wood itself. Now, I'm not counting the actual mangrove trees, I typically group that with the mangrove swamp, but I'm just talking about the wood. Let's start with the logs. These are really good as sort of a toned down oak log. Oak is really vibrant and retro feeling, but mangrove is a lot more subtle and gentle with how it puts itself out. It's slightly darker than oak and really allows for some new building palettes and bettering established ones. Moving on to the planks and all the variants that come from it, I just think it's such an awesome new colour in the game. Red wood. Come on, how is that not cool? It completely opens up for some new build styles with red blocks and really adds to the more naturey side of building. The trapdoors are really cool. There's a massive hole in the middle of them. Just look at that. Who doesn't want a big hole in the middle of their trapdoor? Probably most people. Moving on to number 4, we'll go to the biome, the myth, the legend, the deep dark. It's been a rocky road of this guy, but after 1.5 years since its announcement at Minecraft Live 2020, it's finally here, bringing with it all the new sculpt blocks, sculpt growths, etc. Let's start with the biome itself. It can be located anywhere in the world below Y level 0, so it's really a deep biome. But is it really that dark? Well, if you forget your torches, then I guess it is. A unique feature about this biome is no hostile mobs can actually spawn in this biome. The only other place that feature exists is the Mushroom Island. How ironic, a biome with a scary name where you'll be completely safe. Well, almost. Going on to the block selection of this biome, we mainly have the Skulk family. The Skulk block, which is and will always be in my eyes the most useless of the lot. Sorry, it's just how it's going to be. In my eyes, this will be a piece of the end sky. Come on, you just look at the textures and tell me they don't resemble each other. If you break it without Silk Touch, it will drop some XP. The Skulk Vein will not, so maybe that's another contender for the most useless one. Coming into the next spot, we have the Skulk Sensor. The Skulk Sensor can get triggered by any vibrations or movement nearby, and will trigger a redstone signal or just alert the Skulk Shrieker, which is the next block on this list. The Skulk Shrieker, this block can get set off by a Skulk Sensor and will emit a horrific shrieking sound. I'm sorry, that's the best word I could use. Which honestly would be expected from the likes of Honourable Mentions, which I hope is not 1.20. I promise this block has no other features whatsoever. The final block in this Skulk family is the Catalyst. This old chap, if he sees anything with XP die near it, it'll cause an outbreak of Skulk to spread faster than the coronavirus. Number 3, we have the Allay. Moving on to something a little friendly, we have our friendly neighbourhood caged up Allay. This little guy, if given an item, will follow you around and collect matching items and give them to you. If you set a notebook up somewhere and ding it, the Allay will drop those items off at the notebook instead. This guy can be found caged up in a pillager outpost with iron golems and in jail in some woodland mansions. In the new very controversial 1.19.1 update, if you play a music disc near an Allay and feed it an amethyst shard, it will duplicate itself. You only need one Allay to do this. How cool is that? So, remember earlier when I said the Shrieker had no other uses? Well, I lied. If you trigger the Shrieker 3 times, it will spawn a demon from the likes of a horror movie, the Warden. This big fella is blind, but he can hear vibrations and smell you, so he gets you in the end. Once it starts chasing you, it'll give you the darkness effect, so basically you'll be blind, which is part of what makes this guy so terrifying. He has 450 health points, which is as much as the Ender Dragon and Wither combined, so there's no killing this boy. And if you thought that you were smart and could build up or dig into a wall to escape him, you were mistaken, my friend. I'm afraid he will let off a sonic boom and that will decimate you, so basically, if you see him, run. Now for some honourable mentions. First of all, I've put the chest boat, just because I think this is a super cool way of transporting loads of items around the place in the early game. It's kind of obsolete in the late game though. I've also put the waterlogging leaves feature. You can now waterlog every type of leaf in the game, along with the new mangrove roots, which is super good for making underwater builds or lakes or basically anything to do with water. Also, I've put the recovery compass here, so if you find echo shards from down inside the ancient city, you can combine them with a compass to make the recovery compass, and this is where you can find where you last died, so it's super useful if you forgot your coordinates. And in first place, you've probably already guessed it, I've put the ancient city. How could I not? This structure, in my opinion, is probably one of the coolest structures that's ever been added to the game. First and foremost, there's a massive Among Us guy in the middle, so making sure no one will be sus around the city. There are also chests which have amazing loot in them. You can get maxed out diamond leggings and hose, which, you know, depending on how much you value hose. Also, you can get enchanted golden apples, and the other side disc, which I know is added in 1.18, but otherwise has been really rare. You can also find that here. Not to mention you can also get disc fragments to make the new disc number 5. In the city, there's also a redstone room, so that gets many more points from me. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, maybe learned a thing or two about 1.19. If you did, consider dropping a like below. What's your thoughts on 1.19? Love it? Hate it? Do you agree with my list? If not, tell me in the comments, and let's talk about it. With that said, I've been Cobalt, you've been amazing, goodbye.